So guys, this is my review for Tōkyō Revengers episode number 4, and with that guys, let's jump right into this review of episode 4. Let's get it. So guys, here in episode 4 titled Return, we basically get just another interaction with Hinata and Takemichi here, and that I've stated this in my review during episode 3 that I feel like they're going to be interacting a lot throughout the anime. It just seems like that's the direction, that's the case. Of course, they're back at Hinata's house, but actually in her room. I wasn't sure if we were going to actually go in the house or we were just going to be outside the house type of thing, because I feel like there are certain shows where you have specific things happen within a show, even pertaining to a time travel thing, where they literally just are always in one spot. They don't necessarily move. But I am glad that they actually went in the house. I just wasn't expecting them to be in her room. But one of the things that does happen even prior to this, that when they're on the train, I did like the fact that Hinata was able to force those three young men that were joking and laughing and stuff to move over to let that elderly lady sit down. I did enjoy that. But Taki, he does slip up. He starts bringing up something from the future, and he has to catch himself because he's talking out loud. He does that. I believe he does that a couple of times here. But this episode itself was just really, really great moving forward. But I did enjoy this moment here with them conversating and talking. But then at the same time, introducing her mother to the episode here, and also talking about Hinata's father, who's a police officer, and of course, like Takemichi even mentioning how Naoto becomes a police officer anyway, 12 years later, because his father is one. So it definitely does coincide and tie in with the reason why he is the way that he is up to this point in his life when he's interacting with Takemichi and stuff like that. So I did enjoy these moments here at the beginning of episode 4. Now, once they have the moment between him and Hinata, the fireworks happen, because again, it is July 4th of 2021, that he ends up having that very hilarious moment. But again, that's the thing. During my reaction, you can see it. If you haven't already, you go back and watch my reaction episode 4 here on the channel, that I forgot that the moment where he was looking to touch and hold hands of Hinata, that he ended up holding hands of the younger version of Naoto. I forgot that because they come in contact with each other and touching each other, basically shaking hands. Now here they're holding hands in that moment, that I forgot that that basically it triggers his time traveling powers, in which case it does indeed occur that he goes back to 2021 instead of staying in 2005. Now, with that occurring, Naoto basically explained it to Takemichi that you were in this dream, like this, basically like this dream state, and you're not like, it's not like he was dead. It was just like he was like unconscious, and he was just there. He was just in the dream state, and he was back in 2005. But he also is mentioning that they need to stay in his room. They can't move his body anywhere else. It's just better that they keep him in his room. But one of the things that they do talk about the fact that if he travels back in time from a different point, he's gonna go somewhere else, and then if he stays in that area, or like in the past, and a week goes by, it's gonna be a week later. They do bring that to the point. That's what Naoto's saying. Like, he believes that that's what also this time traveling thing will occur. But also too, he Takemichi does indeed talk about Sano, aka Mikey, talking about how he even though he's a delinquent, he's a fairly decent young kid back then. But Sano is upset because he feels like if it was him in Takemichi's in Takemichi's place, that he would try to kill him off top. Because again, we understand, like, that's your sister. Like, most of us who have a sister who we really truly cared about and died, we had this power, we would definitely go back. We probably more than likely wouldn't be able to hold ourselves back from hurting the person, because we believe that this is the person that indeed is the reason why our sister is dead. So we understand it. But then at the same time, Naoto does tell Takemichi that within what, a couple of days, he has noticed that Takemichi has changed, whether it's good or bad. But with that, they end up having a conversation about a really good friend of Takemichi in the moving forward in the episode. And that good friend is Akun, aka Sendo. They talk about him, and because they showed a updated picture of him, probably a few years later, he had like a froish type of a hair color and stuff like that. But they bring this up where I wasn't sure what the time travel, how the effect was going to be when it's pertaining from current timeline to the past timeline, how it was going to affect, because I just wasn't really sure what was really happening. I had a I was assuming a lot of things, but just really wasn't sure. So we find out here in episode 4, should I say I found out that that day, that basically the time that Takemichi originally went back to is when they are fighting in the fight clubs, and instead of him, if he hadn't stood up to Kiyomasa, if he would have just got totally beat down, it was supposed to happen that Akun was supposed to stab Kiyomasa. He was supposed to do that, but it did not occur during that time where Takemichi went back and he stood up to Kiyomasa, and the fact that Sano and them came in and totally stopped that from happening as well. So all of that stuff affected the fact that Akun did not do what he was basically supposed to do in that moment from the original timeline. So this doesn't happen. So they even Sano and Takemichi and Naoto even mentioned it, that the time that the timeline is changing. So I wasn't, again, like I said, I wasn't sure what was happening, how the timeline was being really affected. If they moved just one thing, what type of effect that would have. But yeah, as I'm learning through these episodes, is that as they're changing things, certain things are changing in different ways. And of course, we find that out even more so moving forward here in episode 4. And as we see that Akun is different. He looks different. He, like, even like his skin tone, like he just didn't look well. He looked like he was stressed, depressed, anxiety, whatever it is that was going on. He just looks different. He has tattoos. His hair is shorter, still the same color, but we could tell that there was definitely a different change in him. Now that we got a scene from when it was right after they had had another conversation at a bus stop, basically, talking about, like, if we separate, are we still gonna, are things gonna be different between us? And Akun basically saying, like, man, look, like, you're my homie for life, like, we're gonna be friends forever. And they do indeed bring that up here in the conversation. But again, Akun definitely is different. Now, I wasn't sure what the interaction was going to be. I kind of felt, because Takemichi kept saying to Naoto, like we're friends, blah blah blah, nothing's going to change. I kind of felt like Akun was going to be different, but like that's the thing. He's sort of different, but he's sort of the same. So it's like he's basically like in the middle of who his character is. But then we found out this major thing occurred from episode 1. This major thing occurred that answered my question that I was trying to figure out, and I'm going to talk about here in the next scene. And the major thing, guys, is that this is what I was thinking. I was thinking that Naoto was the one that pushed Takemichi into the train that was getting ready to hit him, which is the reason why, is to force him to time travel. That was what I originally was thinking. That was my theory. But we found out that it was Akun that was the one that shoved him into the train track to kill him. It makes me wonder why he did that, though. But at the same time, he knows that Takemichi can time travel. But I'm also trying to question, like, how does he know that information? But at the same time, I kind of feel like I get the understanding of how he knows that, because he mentions while they're on the roof, he does talk to Takemichi and tells him, like, the Tallman group, like, our gang, we know key information about any and everybody that we have either come in contact with or are currently in contact with. So they know a lot of information. So more than likely, there are people out there that are spying on key characters in the show. And so they more than likely had somebody follow Naoto. Maybe even Akun was the one that followed them and was finding out this information, because he does indeed talk to Takemichi about the fact that, you know, like, you can time travel and you're able to time travel back and to a specific point. Are you in, but at the same time, he wasn't sure like who he was time traveling to save. Was he time traveling to save Draken? RIP to him, because Ken is already dead. We don't know how he's died. And you know, we're just, you know, just trying to, I'm really just trying to wrap my brain around what's really going on, what's like all this stuff. But again, I know that now that the timeline is shifting, it's changing, things are becoming different. But at the same time, now we know that Akun, but again, Takemichi is upset because he's denying the fact. That's the thing. He's denying that he can time travel, because he's questioning Akun and their friendship that basically was on the verge of being broken because of the fact that Akun did what he did. He's like, why did you're supposed to be one of my best friends from the past. Why did you shove me into the train, like, to try to kill me? Why were you going to take my life? But, you know, Naoto's the one that saved him as well. So there's that as well. So I'm just like, man, like things for me as the viewer, first time watching the show, 4 episodes in, there's still so many questions that I have, but it's still answering some of them just 4 episodes in. So I'm just like, man, like the anime is just getting better and better. This episode, I can say, is definitely like my top favorite episode right now here in Tōkyō Revengers. So definitely RIP to Akun, who commits suicide. Like I said in my reaction, I brought this up, I talked about it, where I kind of felt like that's what it was leaning towards even before he did it. I was thinking in my mind, I just didn't say it until he got up on the ledge, and I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, I thought he was going to jump right there, but eventually he does indeed jump, and he's just like, because again, he's asking Takemichi, did you go back to save Draken? Did you go back to save him? But Takemichi doesn't tell him, like, I was going back to save Hinata here. But then we see this character, he's in the back. I'm going to guess and say that this is Kisaki here, the other leader of the Toman gang. And then we also found out that Mikey hasn't been seen in a long time. So because Akun says he doesn't even know what he looks like in the current timeline before he eventually goes off to his death. But it's just, you know, one of those things, like, you know, maybe something maybe possibly happened to Mikey, and again, this more than likely is Kisaki, who was there in the background, silently watching all this occur in this conversation between Takemichi and Akun. I'm just like, you know, what's the end game for you, specifically you, who, again, like I said, I believe this is Kisaki here, but not too really sure, because this person is wearing glasses. Kisaki wears glasses, but it could be somebody totally different. Who knows for sure? But pretty much that's when we also find out that after the conversation with Naoto and the police, that Takemichi is making the statement like he needs to go back and he needs to save everybody that has died, and that's including Naoto, Hinata, Draken, and Akun. He wants to save them all instead of just Akun and Naoto. I mean, excuse me, Hinata and Naoto. So what an episode, guys. I really enjoyed this episode. Seriously, really enjoyed episode 4. But with that, guys, let me know your thoughts. What did y'all think of episode 4 when you first sat down and watched it for the first time? Leave some comments in the comment section below if you feel up to it. And I will talk to y'all next time with more Tōkyō Revengers. Peace, guys.